Hello everyone. In this presentation, our group Foxtrot have answered some important questions about supply management. So let's start with Gagandeep Kaur.
Hi, let's go with question number one, which is a situation question. So, according to the situation, the question asked here is what could Salim and his team do? So, the options are first, number A, outsource the manufacturing of bicycles to the China. Option B, work with suppliers on consignment inventory program. Option C, standardize all components used in bicycle manufacturing. Option D, negotiate with suppliers to reduce time through improved forecasts and negotiate purchasing agreements. So the correct answer is B, that is, work with supplier on consignment inventory program. As it is told in the earlier slide, the correct answer to the situation is option B, work with the suppliers on consignment inventory programs. The main problem they are facing in the situation is controlling the lead time. So here it is, like controlling the lead time is very important to improve the whole process. If they will be able to control the lead time, they would be able to save the time and also reduces the unwanted task. Automatically focus on the improvement of the actions. And whereas it will also helps to reduce the waiting time period between the freshly ordered products, manufacturing and receiving them, which will impact on the commitment toward the customers on time. That is, like they will be able to fulfill their demands on proper time slot and will make their customers happy. Moving further, the another question was that why the other options are not chosen. So if we go with option A, that is outsource the manufacturing bicycles to the China. I haven't chosen this option because if we are going with the outsourcing the manufacturing of bicycle to the China, it will take the very longer time period, like 1 to 2 weeks, and it will also be costly and very expensive, which will also affect the quality of the product. And so that's why I didn't choose the option A. If I'm going with option C, standardize all components used in bicycle of manufacturing. This option is not chosen because if Salim choose the suppliers who is unable to work with the designer or the maker of the process, then it will affect the whole quality of the product. And it will also cost a lot of leading time. Last but not the least, option D, that is negotiate with the supplier to reduce the lead times through improved forecast and negotiated purchasing agreement. It is not chosen because it takes long time. Like they take so much long time in talking and negotiating with all the suppliers, communicating with them, and due to which we won't be able to control the lead time and to focus on our improvement.
Question 2. Due to a lack of resources and space, an information technology department decided to outsource its support desk. The IT department approaches supply management, which puts together a bidder's list and issues a request for proposal. As the deadline to submit proposal approaches, the Chief Information Officer recommends that supply management schedule site visits the bidder's facilities. In this situation, which of the following is the best course of action for supply management to take? A. Schedule the site visit as soon as possible. B. Wait to schedule any site visit until the bidder submit their proposals. C. Wait to schedule the site visit until the selection committee makes a selection. D. Wait until a contract is signed and then schedule a site visit with the winning bidder. As per my own opinion, I will go with option B. Wait to schedule any site visit until the biders submit their proposals, as it is productive and time preserving. Instead of wasting biders at the site, we must go with one having a good deal, as it will save our time. Option A is difficult as it takes a lot of time and it is very hard for the biders to plan for it, and it is not compulsory to visit site in this option. Option C is also not suggested because in this option there are many biders which are missed by the committee and the selected biders are given work in comparison with others. Option D is also not recommended because in this option the agreement is already done, and if bidders are unable to do work as per the time schedule as per the expectation of the company, then the company will take no responsibility. The bidder is himself responsible for all that.
Hi, my name is Luz. I will be presenting the question number 4. The process that determines and maintains the appropriate number of suppliers by category or item depending on the risk and value of the item or category is called. So I had 4 options to choose from, and the first option was supply management, and second option was ERP, third option was process map, and last option was supply based rationalization. So according to the definition given over here, it's clear that the option D is the correct answer, so which is why I chose option D, supply based rationalization. To get a clear picture of why I didn't choose the other options, I added an elaborated explanation of each option. So, supply chain management is the act of identifying, acquiring, and managing resources and supplies that are essential to the operations of an organization. It includes the purchase of physical goods, information, services, and other necessary resources that enable a company to continue operating and growing. ERP is an acronym that stands for Enterprise Resource Management, which is the consolidated process of gathering and organizing business data through an integrated software suite. ERP software contains applications which automates business functions like production, sales, quoting, accounting, and more. So the last option was Process Map, which is a planning and management tool that visually describes the flow of work. A process map is also called a flowchart, process chart, functional process chart, etc.
Hello, my name is Karanbir Singh and today I will talk about question number 5 of this presentation. So in question number 5, it asks which of the following best describes a stakeholder. So it have 4 options. Option A, an internal person who is most affected by a particular decision making process. Option B, an internal person who has final authority in a decision making process. Option C, an internal or external person who will be affected by and or can influence a decision making process. And option D, an internal or external person who controls or influences how a decision making process will be handled. So from the options which I mentioned in the last slide, I chose option C because I think option C covered all the aspects of the stakeholder. Firstly, it states that a stakeholder can be internal or external person as well. For example, employees, managers, etc. are the internal stakeholders, and on the other hand, government suppliers, etc. are the external stakeholders. Secondly, it states that a stakeholder can be affected by and or can influence a decision making process. For example, employees, which are the internal stakeholder, can be affected by the new rules and regulations introduced by the company, and on the other hand, government, which is the external stakeholder, can influence a decision making process by introducing new laws or new policies for the business. So a stakeholder can be affect or can be affected by or can influence a decision making process. So these two features are well covered in this option. That is why I chose option C. To understand the concept more clearly, I will explain why I haven't chose option A, option B, and option D. So let's start with option A. In option A, it suggested a stakeholder is an internal person who is most affected by a particular decision-making process. This statement seems to be wrong to me because a stakeholder can be internal person as well as they can be external as well. As I mentioned in the last slide, internal stakeholders can be employees, managers, etc. And on the other hand, suppliers, government, financiers, etc. are the external stakeholders. So this statement is wrong because they only mentioned about the internal person. Furthermore, in option B, it states that an internal person who has final authority in decision making process. This statement is also wrong because first of all they mention only about an internal person, and as we know, a stakeholder can be internal or external as well. Secondly, they said an internal person who has final authority in decision making, which is wrong because a stakeholder do not have the final authority in decision making, but they can only influence a decision making process. They can or they can be affected by a decision making process. So because of this, option B is wrong. Moving forward, in option D, it states that an internal or external person who controls or influences how a decision making process will be handled. So this statement is wrong because stakeholders do not handle the decision making process, they just take a part in it. They can only they can only influence or can get affected by this process, but they cannot handle but they do not handle the decision making process. So it is the internal staff who handle who handle this process. For example, internal stakeholders like employees, they cannot handle the decision making process for the company. And on the other hand, government, which is a external stakeholder, cannot handle the decision making process for any particular company. They just can influence the decision making process by implementing new rules or new regulations, but they cannot handle it. So this statement is also wrong. So this is the end of our presentation. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you.